Welcome back, everybody. This is Dread BC bringing another daily quest. Today, cast 20 blue or green spells. Now, anyone who's been watching my videos knows I'm very likely going to be playing Merfolk, but what you don't know is that there are more colors than just blue and green that can benefit Merfolk. So what we're going to do today is we're going to play not just Simic Fish, but a mid-range Merfolk deck, and if you'll notice, there's a black mana symbol there. This is a completely different deck, actually. You notice there's fewer 4-ofs. It's not as big on the getting in there with an unblockable, although we do run the 3 river sneaks. Much of the creatures are the same. However, this time there are a few more combat tricks. We've got 2 River Herald's Boon, and I'm sorry, 2 River Herald's Boon as opposed to 0, because that's a double pump. We've got the 2 Deeproot Waters to get a bunch of get more dudes out into play. Deeproot Waters and Deeproot Elite, I swear these both need to be hybrid blue-green because they're essentially meant for each other. We've got New Horizons to help fix our black mana. Actually, these aren't combat tricks, so to speak, so I guess this is the only real combat trick we've got. But the non-combat trick we have, Sleep and Gruesome Menagerie. So I upped the command count by 1. I did go ahead and spend one of the things on it, or one of the wild cards on it because I had it, so I figured I might as well. I enjoy the deck enough to do it. So got an extra command. If you'll notice, he's got a converted mana cost of 3. Gruesome Menagerie here says you can choose a creature card in your graveyard with converted mana cost 1, and then 2, and then 3, and return them to the battlefield. So this is a 3-for-1. Another option that I tinkered with was Find and Finality, but returning them to your hand is decent, and in this deck it might not be awful. But I find that the Gruesome Menagerie, getting them all back into play on the same turn, is just completely broken with Deeproot Waters. It might not be bad to run Find in this deck, or even in just the standard Merfolk. And if you really want to, you could probably splash 1 or 2 swamps just to play Finality if you had to. But, anywho. That's totally something we might have to try at a later date. But for now, this is the deck list I've settled upon. My lands are pretty much across the board. Trying to be as balanced as possible. The Menagerie being double black. We don't have to cast it on turn 5, but it'll be turn 5 before we ever cast it. So we don't need to have 10 swamps to make sure it's there. So 2 swamps, a Drowned Catacomb, and a Watery Grave. I could put in more Watery Graves, but since I had a Drowned Catacomb, I decided that was probably better. Got the 2 Overgrown Tombs, might as well. Woodland Cemetery, had it, might as well. I'm still running more blue-green fixing, and yes, 2 tap lands as much as I hate them, but I just don't have the hinterland harbors right now. And went down to 2 unclaimed territory because we do have more non-creature spells. So I think the fixing is fine to have 2 essentially colorless land for those, and they will more often than not still be helpful. I mean, this is another one of those ones that's a little more difficult to cast, a double blue on turn 2, but you don't need to cast this on turn 2. This is a later combat trick. So this is another combat trick. This is one I left out from before. So Merfolk Midrange, let us see what we can do. I haven't personally piloted this, but I did see a list online, and it seemed to have pretty good results. So let's see what kind of nonsensory we can get into. C.J. Meyer. See, here's the problem that we're going to run into. If we don't draw an island, this might not do much. I'm going to mulligan this. This is the first, okay. That's much better. Much, much better. Alrighty. And we will keep that on top, I believe, just to make sure we have that 3rd land. Alright. We'll go ahead and get that into play tapped. No reason to pretend like we're doing anything on turn 1. Okay. We will run the Adept out. No, I'm sorry. We will run the Elite out there since they are blue. If they show us a black mana, then we can worry about the kill spells next turn. But for now, I just want to get them on board. That way the next card that we play here, we'll start putting counters up. Okay. So this is clearly a tempo deck. And a mill deck. Alright. Usually don't have too much of a problem racing mill. Don't want to see 2 copies of New Horizons in your main deck, or in your opening hand. Get the elite out there. Although, probably, maybe we should go with the 2 power at this point. No big deal. Oh man, Gruesome Menagerie plus mill. Oh man, he's playing into our hand. He better hold up counter spells at all times. Actually, because of that, I think the best thing to do would be to play New Horizons this turn since we didn't draw our land. New Horizons does put a 1/1 counter on your creature, so he has no idea how much he's playing into our hand at this point. He's got a long way to go. Essentially, he's got to kill me down from 42 life, and I've got to kill him down from 18. Can even get a Forerunner Heralds out there. Oh no, I can't because it's a 4 cost. My apologies. I'm a liar. So, let's see what we've got in here. I know we've got pumps. We've got the Deep Root Waters that we can't get. Mistbinder. So that's our 1, that's our 2. We don't have a 3. So we're going to wait on that. We're going to play this tapped. Play the Adept. Revealing the Trickster he's not going to really care about. And then we're going to play the Mistbinder. And he has no responses. Okay. So we want him to mill a little bit more. We need a 3 cost in our graveyard. There's our 3 cost. Okay. Next turn, if he leaves his mana untapped, which he shouldn't, he should be drawing cards every chance he gets. Okay, he's tapped out. This is going to hurt him really bad. So, Gruesome. A 1-drop, a 2-drop, and a 3-drop. Triggers on the stack. Let's get him bigger, her bigger. Do it again with him. And just douche. Goodbye, mill. So that could have been my favorite game that I've ever played with Merfolk. For 2 reasons. 1, God, that worked out well. And 2, oh, we just trounced mill. Ladies and gentlemen, that was a thorough ass whomping. Oh man. That actually, the only bad part about that is it makes me sad there's not more mill in Standard. Good mana. Actually, great mana. We've got a combat trick if necessary. I assume with a Teferi icon, he's going to be playing some sort of control. I always make these assumptions. We'll keep this. This is actually a great opening hand. And watch this. See, now Teferi over here is thinking, what we have here is a mid-range deck. What he's not thinking is, oh, this is clearly Merfolk. Now he's thinking, I have no idea what's going on. Blue-white. So is this a control deck, I'm guessing? Well, one way to find out. Play on curve. Okay. Okay, well there's that. Put the dude into play, one that can't be targeted. I know we're losing out on 1 damage this turn, but that's okay. With spot removal, hexproof is a good thing. Bant. Okay, and we got a Bant Merfolk player, it looks like. Okay, well our dudes are going to be a little bit better than your dudes, because we're going to do this. And then we're going to put the counter there. Turn them all sideways. If he decides to double block the elite, we blow him out with a River Herald's Boon. And he doesn't. So the mid-range version of Merfolk just has more power on board, I'm feeling like. It's not reliant so much on all these 1/1s getting stronger and stronger. Yes, it lacks a little bit on the unblockable side, but I mean, Merfolk are the only creatures, other than, I guess, mono blue tempo now, that run anything unblockable. So it's not like it's necessary. I mean, mono white hasn't had an unblockable creature in ages, unless it's one that's had protection from red or protection from black. Okay. This is another good hand. This is one where we have a play, and if we draw actually we have two plays. And we'll probably open with the elite. If we draw one land, we just sort of go off. Sorry, two lands. But that's okay. Enters tapped, play that first. Let them know you are staring down the fish, because not a whole lot of other Simic decks in Standard right now. Hopefully when this new set comes out, that'll change, because I do enjoy my Simic. We've got a red-green so far. So, if he's going to have the removal spell, he's going to have it. No use playing around it. He's going to kill the elite at some point if he can. I honestly feel like the River Sneak is more of a threat than the elite. Okay, land where else. He could still shock. Unfortunate. Do I play the guy that can't be blocked? Yeah, I'll do that. And then I'll pump him once. Turn him sideways and hope he... I mean, if he's going to shock him, it's going to kill him regardless, but at least this way he doesn't feel compelled to trade Llanowar Elves for a much more important creature. At least, I can only assume it's much more important if he's sitting on 3 lands, then he needs that Llanowar to cast bigger things. Okay, so there we go. There's your answer. Come on, land. Not a land. Not even close to a land. That's as far from a land as you get. Okay. Now we have choices. We could cast the Mistbinder, pumping them both, increasing the power of the Deeproot Elite out of shock range, but not out... No, it is... No, it's still in Lava Coil range. Yeah, I still think it's better to go ahead and just keep establishing a board presence. It gets a little bit bigger. We're going to attack. The 4 can be blocked, the 3 cannot. And he chooses not. Passing turn. Okay, he now has, oh my goodness, the worst possible mana base. Okay, Goreclaw. I know what he's trying to do. He's trying to play big ol' flatties. Okay, we got a land! Hooray! And they did rejoice. We can get this out there. It's not super exciting this turn, but if he's going to play something ginormous, which is not unlikely going to be a Galta probably this turn or the next. Okay, so that guy's not terrifying. I can take a couple of hits from him, no problem. New Horizons. Is that too slow? I think it's too slow. I think what we're going to do is we're going to race. You get big. You get big. Next turn, or next, go into attackers. Gonna get in there. End turn. We will absolutely draw a card with Cumena. Has he finally got a kill spell? Nope, no kill spell. But he is going to attack hard this turn, I bet. But if he does that, he's tapped out. He's pretty well screwed. Pass to attackers. Okay. He's still being cautious about his attacks. I think he sees the writing on the wall on this one. because he knows that we can throw our creatures away at this point. Okay. 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. He added 3 red mana. He can do up to 5 damage, and red mana is the one that can do that. We're not going to block that. We will block... Oh, I'm sorry, hang on. We got to make sure this resolves so we can see our damage. Okay, so he's actually doing a lot more than it looked like. So we're going to pass the blockers. Throw this dude. Let's see, trample. No trample. Okay. Easy block there. We will throw... Oh, we're not throwing you away even still. I don't think it's going to matter beyond that. We're going to block, go into damage, and we're going to activate tapping these 3 to draw a card. Just to make sure that we get in there with the most value possible. So if he did have burn spells, this is going to prevent us from being within burnable range. 3 mana just can't do it. But 5 or 7 mana might be able to. Okay. Okay, he saw it. That was a weird deck. I'd never seen that 8/5 actually played before. I mean, if anyone hadn't read the card, if I were to block it and it were to take damage, I'd have to sacrifice a permanent. And, of course, Goreclaw gave it trample. I don't even think it has trample to begin with. In fact, I think it not having trample makes it a better card because you're more inclined to block it, but then you have to sacrifice something. So it's either you take 8 damage or you sacrifice very likely 2 permanents, one being the blocking creature and then the one you have to sacrifice for dealing damage to it. It's an interesting card, but I think it's too slow for what it wants to do. It's like it wanted to be a Phyrexian Obliterator, but it's just a little bit too slow. Yeah. I mean, I see an elite. I see 2 Mistbinders. I hit that keep button as hard as I possibly can. I almost punched my screen doing it. Okay, we're playing against black, which opens up a lot of kill spells. Start with the elites. If anything's going to eat a fungal infection, it's a 1/1 that makes everything ridiculously good. Walking Corpse, not afraid. Not at all. We'll play the Mistbinder now, pumping the elite outside of killable range. By that, put this into play tapped, so we've got all our mana. We've now got double black on turn 3, and I think with this sleep in hand, this is going to be real hard for them to come back from. Especially if they're playing stuff like this. Because now this is going to become a game of make a bigger, better board presence. We'll play that next if we need to. We'll play the Mistbinder for now. Okay. Make him a 5/5. Let's see if he trades. He has to double block to kill the elite. That's fine. 1 Mistbinder is not the end of the world, and he only gets a Saproling out of the deal. Okay. We're going to need to draw some better stuff here soon. That's a something. We're going to name Merfolk. I think they should... I don't know if they could do it, but order the one that's most prevalent in your deck and have that be at the top. That's my thoughts. Okay, so this is not the one that makes me reveal a creature, so that's good. And, yeah, you get the 5/5, because now he has to have a kill spell, or a combat trick to kill this guy. So check this out. I can make it no... I think it's actually enough value at this point to go ahead and do that, because here's why. Tap him. He loses all of his abilities. This guy gets a 1/1 counter. So when this guy dies, he does not create a zombie. Next turn we sleep, swing in. Play something huge. That is something huge. And by huge, I mean it costs your entire turn to play a Gravedigger and to get back a 1/1. Oh no, I'm sorry, he got the Thallid back. Welp. Sometimes you draw the cards, ladies and gentlemen. Get in there. So that's how it rolls. Merfolk Midrange. This deck has power. I don't know enough about the current tier list at the moment to know that it's going to consistently run you up there. But I tell you what, it has been thoroughly enjoyable. This is the list once again, if you just want to take a ganders at it. Everything except for these. You know, I'm not 100% sold on this guy. It is essentially copy 4 and 5 of Cumena, but he does cost 4 and doesn't do a whole heck of a lot. He does get real beefy, though. Or she. It's hard to tell. You search for a Merfolk, put it on top, and then every time another Merfolk enters, it gets a 1/1. So this guy in Deeproot Waters actually might turn out to be a pretty good little combo. This card is a damn all-star. Just insanely good. How this is an uncommon is beyond me. 5 years ago, this would have been a rare, possibly even a mythic, I feel like. But jeez. The Merfolk just have so much power with so little effort. I genuinely feel like this could be one of the best decks in most standards. I'm not sure why this one has it so dead on board a lot of the times. It's probably because there's like 9 different cards that just hose it completely. There's Deafening Clarion, there's Golden Demise, which is -2/-2 to all creatures. Deafening Clarion's 3 damage to all creatures. That's a board wipe early on. That's almost a guaranteed 3 for 1 on turn 3. It would take a really lucky draw to not kill everything. Then there's Ritual of Soot, destroy all creatures, converted mana cost 3 or less. That kills the entire deck before turn 4. And more than likely before turn 5 or 6, because you're still going to be playing out a bunch of 1 and 2s. Of course, white has tons of ways to destroy all creatures. White even has Slaughter the Strong, which you have to choose creatures whose power adds up to no more than 4. Which in this deck seriously would be 2 creatures or maybe even 1. Even though you paid 1 mana for it, it's now suddenly a 4/4 or 5/5. And so that's probably the reason why it does so poorly in many cases, is just control does have a hard time, or it doesn't have too hard a time if they run lots of sweepers. But any deck that's not running sweepers struggles against the fish folk. But that was the deck. I think I'm going to actually change the box to have the giant frog. Where'd it go? That big old frog in the background is just kind of cool looking. So yeah, I think that's all I'm going to record for this. I completed the quest. You see how the deck goes, but don't get me wrong, I will very likely be playing much more of this. This mid-range version of this deck has been a lot of fun, and it seems to me it's a little bit less stressful to play than the other version. So I hope you all enjoyed. Tips or suggestions, by all means, let me know. Always open to good suggestion. And this deck, it just feels like a few tweaks here and there might make it infinitely better. Like I thought about possibly getting rid of Cumena Speakers altogether and just putting in more Jade Bearers. Reason being, you know, you can pump other things than just the 1/1. So if you draw this late game, it doesn't necessarily feel like a dead drop. Like a 2/2 for 1 late game is not great. It does trigger other things, but just a quick example. Deeproot Waters. This is a 2/2 for 1 that brings out a 1/1. This is a 1/1 for 1 that makes a 2/2 hexproof with Deeproot Waters. So it's an alternate, you know, it's a trade-off one way or another. And of course, with the Deeproot Elite, you get double 1/1 counter triggers with this guy. So lots to think about, lots to consider. But as it stands right now, this Merfolk Midrange is solid. I did not. We played one Cumena the whole time. Didn't even need it. This is the one mythic in the deck. There's a few rares. It's actually a somewhat budget list. Deep root elites. If you don't have them, you're gonna wish you did. You might as well throw the rares into it. Let's see. Mistbinders are uncommon because the lords they decided to put in this are now uncommon. There's our mythic. Okay, these guys are rares, but never played one. Didn't even see one the entire time. Creatures with 1/1 counters can't be blocked. I mean, seriously. Herald of Secret Streams and Cumena are basically brother and sister at this point. Or brother and brother. One of the two. I think they're both dudes. Yeah, and then Gruesome Menagerie. A lot of y'all out there don't even play blue-green, so there's a good chance y'all just have this card. To make it even better, this is a Guilds of Ravnica card, so when things do switch out and we lose Ixalan, this still sticks around. It might have some use. But yeah, if you've got the land base, go for it. You don't even have to have this kind of a land base, really. You can use the tap lands. It's going to be a little bit slower. You'll be a turn behind with just about everything you want to do, but it's totally doable, and there's no reason you can't run 4 unclaimed territory. This is still mostly a creature deck, so things to consider. I, again, hope you all enjoyed, and look forward to hearing from you. Good luck.